So finally what we're going to do is add a delete button here. So because I also want the functionality to delete records. So in our page.ejs, let's come down. Now in order to delete data, we need to create a form and then override the post method with the delete method. Alright, we can't directly create an anchor tag and delete from there. Alright, we need to create a form and override the post method with the delete method. Alright, just like we did in the edit case. So here I'm going to say form, and I'm going to set the action to /data/delete/ and I'm going to display the ID. So I'm going to say data.id, and we have the access to the ID. Alright, let's close that, and here I'm going to add a question mark just like we did in our edit form. Right, because method override is already installed, I'm going to add an underscore and I'm going to set the method delete. Alright, before it was put for the edit form, here it is delete, and we're going to set the method attribute to post. And here I'm going to add a hidden input field, set the type to hidden, and name to underscore method, and I'm going to change the value to delete. And finally we're going to create the submit button. Alright, so we're going to say input type equals to submit, and we're going to set the value to delete. Alright, similar to what we did for the edit form. Alright, but in case of delete, we have to create a form and override this post method with the delete method. Alright, this is how you actually delete from the backend. Let me also add a class here and set that to delete. Alright, there you go, the CSS is working. Now if I press this button, I am taken to this route, but again I'm getting an error because I haven't created this route in my app.js. Alright, so in our app.js, we're gonna go down and I'm gonna add a comment and say delete from database. Alright, and here instead of app.get or app.post or app.put, this time we're gonna say app.delete. Alright, because the HTTP request here is delete. And here we're gonna set the path, which is data/delete/id. It should have been diary, but okay, let's just move along with this data. It doesn't matter. So we're gonna say data/delete/:id. Alright, this will work for all the IDs, comma, and I'm gonna set the callback with the request and response. For now, let's just send request.params.id. Alright, just to check. And if I refresh this page again, and there we go, we're getting the ID of the data. So now what we need to do here is delete this data. Alright, now from all the data that are present inside my database, I'm going to delete that single data whose ID matches my ID. Alright, so here I'm going to say diary, which is my model dot, and the method that I'm going to use in order to delete the data is remove. And similar to find one, it's gonna need a parameter, and here I'm gonna say id to request.params.id. Alright, and what this code does is it checks the database, and if it finds the ID equal to our ID, then it's going to remove that data. Alright, so once it does that, it's going to return a promise, and here I'm just gonna redirect the user to the diary page. Alright, and if there is any error in the process, we can catch that and console log it. Save that. Alright, so basically this is the process of removing data from the database. Alright, first of all, you need to create a form. Alright, and you need to change the post method. You need to override the method of the form to delete. Okay, and in Express you can do that with the help of method override dependency. Secondly, you can actually, in your database, you can actually check for the ID, and then if it matches your ID, you can actually remove that with the help of .remove method. Alright, if I save this, and now if I go back, if I refresh this page, and if I hit this delete button, remember the title. Alright, there you go, and now this data is completely removed from the database. If I go to MongoDB Atlas, and if I refresh this page, and there you go guys, the data is completely removed from the database. Alright, so this is how you delete the data in Express. So finally guys, we have created a complete CRUD application in Express. We can actually add the data, edit, read, and also remove the data from the database. Alright, so let me try it out for one last time. Let's go to add here and set the title to created Express course, created a new course. Let's set the date. If I hit add to diary, alright, so the new record is created. We can actually see that in detail, and we can also edit this. So now instead of Express, I'm gonna say React. Alright, let's set the date. If I edit it, alright, now the data is edited. Before it was Express, now it is React, and finally I can delete this data. Alright, so there you have it guys, a complete CRUD application made with Express.